It's a disaster. It's a tragedy.
Violence erupts in China. Dozens are killed in street riots, and the protests threaten to spread. Hello everyone, I'm John Mills, WorldTVNews.com, reporting from Taiwan. Chinese President Hu Jintao has cut short an overseas trip with G8 leaders because of the ethnic rioting, rushing back to China to take action. He's ordered soldiers to regain control. Chinese officials say riot organizers who took part in the violent killings will be executed. Thousands of armed police and soldiers are trying to put the area under a virtual lockdown, but the city of Urumqi has more than 2 million residents. Attempts to cancel Friday prayers at local mosques failed when the Muslim minority population forced authorities to let them inside. Other cities nearby have Uyghur populations that are in the majority, and that is causing fear that this could be only the start of the violence, not the end.
I don't know why the rioters did that to us.
The violence began after 2 Uyghur men were murdered last month. Now the death toll from the violence is threatening to climb into the hundreds. Chinese President Hu Jintao was attending the Group of 8 summit meeting in Italy, but he flew back to Beijing because of the violence. Before the G8 summit, U.S. President Barack Obama had his first meeting with America's former enemy, Russia. Even today, the two countries are hardly best of friends, and both have more than enough nuclear weapons to destroy the world. With that in mind, Obama met with Russian President Dmitry Medvedev and Prime Minister Vladimir Putin in Moscow. The U.S. and Russia each have agreed to reduce their nuclear arsenals by about 25%. But even after the cuts, each country would still have at least 1,500 nuclear warheads. In Russia, President Obama has a lot to prove. He's not nearly as popular in Russia as he is in much of Western Europe. Obama spoke to a crowd of students and faculty at the new economic school in Moscow.
America wants a strong, peaceful, and prosperous Russia.
In Russia, Obama has more work to do building trust. You can watch his entire speech on our non-stop news channel. WorldTVNews.com continues next from here in Taiwan. More violence in Iran. Peaceful protesters are threatened with death. You're watching WorldTVNews.com. World TV News International, a global television network. Thanks so much for being with us. It's good to have you here. WorldTVNews.com travels the globe. North Korea's rocket launch has prompted an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council here in New York. This part of Shanghai is known as the Bund, and right behind me is the Huangpu River. It's a major shipping channel leading to the Pacific Ocean. In Tel Aviv, in London, this is Seoul, South Korea. World TV News International is WorldTVNews.com. The United States is telling Israel it will not interfere if Israel decides to attack and destroy Iran's nuclear program. And unofficially, the U.S. might provide strategic intelligence to help the Israelis. In Iran, the government's violent crackdown on peaceful protesters is continuing. The Guardian newspaper reports the son of Iran's supreme leader is now in control of the militia trying to crush the protests. But they can't seize everyone's mobile phone cameras. One caught this scene of Iranian police beating 2 women on a sidewalk in the capital Tehran. The government has ruled that President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was in fact re-elected last month. The decision came after a partial recount and widespread protests. Many call the election a fraud. They say it was fixed. Top leaders in Iran are calling for some leaders of the peaceful protests to be executed. The death toll already stands at between 20 and 40. Reports say many more have been rounded up and arrested and possibly even put to death. North Korea is launching even more missiles, test firings, with the potential to strike South Korea and Japan. A North Korean ship suspected of carrying weapons intended for Myanmar, also known as Burma, has turned around and gone back to North Korea. An American warship followed the North Korean ship but never stopped it for inspection. North Korea had said an inspection would amount to an act of war. In North Korea, leader Kim Jong-il has made a rare public appearance marking the anniversary of his father's death. The leader looks to have lost a significant amount of weight and is said to be in failing health. It's believed he suffered a stroke last year. Kim Jong-il is 67 years old. Here in Taiwan, businesses are hoping to get a boost from the World Games. Nearly 5,000 athletes from more than 100 countries are taking part. Just like the Olympics, the World Games are held every 4 years, but unlike the Olympics, some non-traditional sports are part of the competition, and getting tickets for these games is relatively easy. One of the sports, known as fin swimming, is getting a lot of attention.
The way they swim and the single fin they wear, and also the men's relay.
So what do you think? Should fin swimming become a real Olympic sport? We want to know what you think. Email us, news@worldtvnews.com. The email address news@worldtvnews.com. Some of the other sports here at the World Games in Kaohsiung, Taiwan include billiards and tug of war. Coming up next, as worldtvnews.com continues from here in Taiwan, we'll have continuing coverage of the crisis in China, rioters murdering each other in the streets, the death toll threatening to climb into the hundreds, and the Chinese army moves in. Plus, President Obama's historic trip to Russia, what it means for nuclear weapons, and we'll have the latest on Iran and North Korea. I'm John Mills, worldtvnews.com, reporting from Taiwan. I'll see you next time.